total population control, NSA by the NSA and others.
Listen, it's shocking. It's written about in the book of Revelation. Could it ever happen? The answer is, unfortunately, yes. Total population control. Bill Binney says that's what the National Security Agency wants. He should know. He was technical director of that agency and worked there for more than 30 years. He became one of their top analysts, perhaps the best code breaker in America, before he resigns because of their domestic spying programs. He's with us now from Washington. Bill, thank you so much for being with us. We're glad to see you.
Well, thanks for having me, Pat.
Look, how big is this apparatus of the NSA? We hear about it, but you know firsthand.
Well, I think there are about 40,000 people working at Fort Meade at NSA headquarters, close to 40,000. And then they have facilities all around the world, plus a number of contractors also associated, probably on the order of 100,000, I would think, to 200,000 that work for them directly. So it's a rather large operation. I mean, it's between 10 and $15 billion a year that they spend on it ever since 9/11. So that's, you know, quite a bit of money they're investing in it.
How much data can they acquire? Is there any limit to it?
Actually, the only limit is in terms of money, power, availability, and space to stack equipment to go and collect the material.
Well, now you've said that the ultimate goal is total population control. In a democracy, that is really scary business.
It's actually a totalitarian process that's been used down through history. I mean, that's what totalitarian dictators, states, that's what they want to do. They want to know everything about the population so they can control it. That was the idea behind the Soviet Union, the East German Stasi. That was their idea, and the Gestapo and the SS, and down through history, many others.
Is our stuff more powerful than those agencies you mentioned?
Yeah, unfortunately it is. That's the real problem I see, is that the capacity is, when you're looking at electronic activity of individuals, like when you use a credit card, or when you make a phone call or email anybody on the internet, or do chatter on the internet, that can be monitored in near real time if they're necessary. Otherwise, they can capture it, collect it, store it, and then retroactively analyze it. So it's something that it provides the opportunity to monitor everybody in the country, in fact, most everybody in the world, in near real time throughout the day. And that's really a 1984 on steroids, really.
All right, now let's take Mrs. Joe Average living in Topeka, Kansas, and she goes to the store and buys something with a credit card. NSA's got that right then?
They have electronic data. They'll collect financial transactions, sure.
She calls her friend Myrtle down the street. That phone is monitored, that call?
Not all of them, but a good many of them are recorded. Certainly all of the fact that she made that call is recorded and stored, and what we call graphed, that is building relationships. That's one of the real problems here. This is a violation of your First Amendment rights. Under the Constitution, you have the right to assemble, free assembly, which means that it doesn't say you have the right to free assembly as long as the government knows about it, which is what's happening when the telecommunications companies turn over all their records of phone calls to and from with duration. That tells them everybody you're contacting, your whole social network on the phone, because it's a simple matter of doing a reverse lookup to see who that is that you're calling.
Oh, you quit the agency because you said what they were doing is unconstitutional. That is clearly unconstitutional, but why does the government keep on doing it?
That's the reason I've been able to, at least from what I can see in the public domain, is they're doing it for law enforcement worldwide. And actually the main users of this data are in fact the FBI and the Drug Enforcement Administration. and other law enforcement agencies in the country, and they use this data to find criminal activity, and then they go arrest people based on this information. Then they have to do a parallel construction, which means they use normal policing techniques that they would be expected to use to find evidence that would justify and show probable cause for an arrest. Then they substitute that for the NSA data in the courts. In fact, that's one of the things that happened in challenging that process. Was one of the lawsuits was Amnesty International versus Clapper, and that made it to the Supreme Court. And the only way they got rid of that was to basically lie to the Supreme Court and say that, well, if anybody had any of this data used against them in the court of law or anything, that the defendants would be told. And that was simply a lie. Nobody has been told to date.
All right.
So they substitute that evidence for what they already know has happened. It's crazy. I'm going to end it here, but obviously this is not going away, and we're going to have to face this. This is worse than the Orwellian idea. So it's been a big trouble. And like I said, the Constitution is gone in a lot of areas. This is the surveillance is one of them, definitely. Good day.